Over the last few months, I've ended up covering a lot of news of natural disasters, which has been a bit depressing. So fingers crossed for something a bit different this month.
Another village on the Canary island of La Palma has been evacuated because of the ongoing eruption of a nearby volcano. Residents were ordered to leave...
Okay, a volcanic eruption on La Palma Island. Eventually the lava began to reach the ocean. That's bad, because when that happens, there's a chemical reaction and toxic gases start to spread, and there are occasional underwater explosions. September is over now, and at the time of recording this video, that volcano is still erupting. Take a look at this footage of the massive queues of traffic that were occurring all over the UK. You might be asking what those queues are for. Maybe you've been following the news, so you can take a guess. In which case I can tell you that you're probably wrong, because that footage is actually from last year, the day before lockdown, and the queues were for the McDonald's drive-through, because not knowing when you'll be able to have McNuggets again is quite anxiety-inducing. And now the country's roads are covered in those kinds of queues once again, due to the fuel crisis that the UK has been going through more recently. Throughout said crisis, people have had to wait for hours in queues of traffic to get to filling stations, in many cases to find that all of the fuel that they needed was gone.
The fundamentals, say industry and government, effectively haven't changed in 2 weeks. Same supply of fuel, same number of drivers, albeit that number is far too low.
The queue in this story was especially bad because this station shares its space with the McDonald's drive-through. Everybody was panic buying because of a fuel shortage, but then people were saying that there isn't a fuel shortage. Well, there is now. It was reported that it wasn't so much a fuel shortage as much a shortage of HGV drivers to deliver the fuel. They ended up having to get the army in to help transport it, which was ineffective because in the army their training only covers driving heavy vehicles that have fuel in the tank. Perhaps the biggest news relating to the fuel crisis, however, was that it was being reported by someone called Phil McCann, right before the news coverage went on to report the increased demand of funeral homes, reported by Carrie McCoffin. Anyway, I've decided to help the situation by just avoiding going out, so I'm doing all of my grocery shopping online. Hi, where's my delivery? One of those big lorries that guzzles loads of fuel was supposed to make a delivery yesterday. Hi, I'm really hungry and need to order a pizza. No delivery drivers. Because they all depend on fuel. I'm not feeling too well at the moment, actually. Hi, how are you? Oh, good, good. Me? Oh, it's funny you should ask, actually. I'm just in the middle of having a stroke, so I was wondering if you could send an ambulance as soon as possible. No ambulances. No one is safe. Sounds scary. But according to Johnny Depp, no one is safe. What is no one safe from? Cancel culture. Johnny Depp himself, of course, being a victim of cancel culture. He was accused of domestic violence against his ex-wife, Amber Heard, which he has continued to deny. Then it was decided that Johnny Depp wasn't allowed to be famous anymore, and as a result of that, he was very much cancelled. So when he went to collect his prestigious award and appear in front of a specially organised press conference, as so many cancelled celebrities do, he was able to share his opinions on what it's like to be a cancelled celebrity. He seemed to win the crowd over, and they agreed that he could continue being a celebrity.
That's weird, I believe me too.
But then they decided they were no longer going to watch any films with Johnny Depp in them because they just couldn't forgive him for that headwear. Shortly after Johnny Depp's address on cancel culture, we were awkwardly reminded that we need to be ashamed if we ever listen to R. Kelly's music. You see, allegedly R. Kelly is a dirty boy.
Prosecutors said R. Kelly used a network of employees and close associates to recruit underage girls, boys, and women for sex. 45 witnesses gave evidence that R. Kelly was a predator who exploited his fame to entrap, control, and punish people, many aspiring singers.
Accusations of sex trafficking initially surfaced a couple of years ago, which was when he had that meltdown in that TV interview.
Yo, killing me with this. I get out 30 years.
But many of us already knew from a Key and Peele sketch which came out a few years before that you can't storm out of an interview with dignity if you're mic'd up.
Okay, young. So, you brought this on yourself, Mort.
Young business, I would really
you
love
brought it on yourself,
young
though.
Young business, I would really love it if you had a seat and we could just talk together about...
The BBC began another series of Strictly Come Dancing, which is interesting because they've been running it for a few years now, even though nobody actually watches it. I've never met anyone that's seen any of it. You see, the BBC occasionally do this thing where they film their primetime slots with long-running TV shows that nobody has actually ever seen. Other shows include Mrs. Brown's Boys and Gavin and Stacey. Actually, that's not true. Somebody I met a few years ago said he walked past the window of a chippy and he said Strictly was on in one of those little TVs that are up in the top corner, muted and subtitled. But I don't believe him. If you've ever met anybody that has seen an episode of Strictly, or Mrs. Brown's Boys or Gavin and Stacey, then please comment and let me know. I probably won't believe you either, but I'm interested to hear about it. At the Youth 4 Climate Conference in Milan, Greta Thunberg made an appearance to talk about... Actually, I'm not sure. She wrote a basic outline for a speech, but didn't appear to fill in the finer details.
Build back better, blah blah blah. Green economy, blah blah blah. Net zero by 2050, blah blah blah. Net zero, blah blah blah. Climate neutral, blah blah blah.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel was in the news for stopping being the German Chancellor, because she started being the German Chancellor ages ago. She famously was able to build rapport with American presidents like Joe Biden, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, probably John F. Kennedy. I wouldn't be surprised if she was still Chancellor back then. The only one she didn't seem to be able to build rapport with was Trump, but Trump didn't get on with any world political figures except for Vladimir Putin and Nigel Farage. I don't think I need to expound on. The US government announced that it will relax travel restrictions to allow passengers from the UK and EU to enter their borders from November.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of relief in Europe and the UK, obviously, and Ireland for this change, because up until now there's...
Well, how did he get over there then? It says he's in Washington. Has he been there since 2019? Sport! England played a football match against Hungary. I know what you're wondering though. Was there racism? Well, of course there was. It's football. As usual, the actual match that was played was overshadowed by the reporting of the fans' behaviour.
4 separate incidents involving individuals who were involved in racist chanting, monkey chanting directed at England's players, specifically Raheem Sterling and Jude Bellingham in particular. We'll wait to see what FIFA does about it. As soon as we've spoken to Gareth Southgate, then the England players will bring that...
But England did win the cup after scoring 4 goals. Sorry, what was that? Right, okay. But England did have a cup thrown at them after scoring 4 goals. What happened to cricket? It used to be stuffy and boring, with all of the players wearing cream. Now they've got these garish outfits and have names like the Kent Spitfires, filling up arenas, and they have all of this chanting going on. I wouldn't be shocked to see them serving greasy hot dogs and having breakdancing competitions between mascots and security. If you were trying to Americanise it that much, then just remove the wickets and call it baseball and be done with it. Actually, I went to a baseball game when I was over on the other side of the pond, and it was just as boring as cricket. Actually, you know what? I've had enough of this. It's ridiculous. I'm very angry.